Dr. Dre isn't just a rap legend. He's one of the most elusive moguls in modern music history. While most celebrities flaunt their fortunes, Dre moves in silence, stacking millions through deals the public barely hears about. Everyone remembers the iconic $3 billion Apple Beats deal that shook the industry. But what most people don't know is that Dre never actually became a billionaire. At least, not officially. So what happened to all that money? And where does his fortune really stand now? From shocking financial hits to stealthy investments and an empire built behind studio walls, Dre's net worth will make you question everything you thought you knew about hip-hop wealth. In 2014, Dr. Dre pulled off what many still call the most legendary business move in hip-hop history. Apple bought Beats by Dre for a jaw-dropping $3 billion. The world watched as Dre declared himself the first billionaire in hip-hop, in a now infamous video with Tyrese. But behind the celebration was a more complicated truth. While the deal did skyrocket his net worth, Dre didn't pocket the full $3 billion. He co-owned the company with Jimmy Iovine and several other investors, meaning the money had to be split. After taxes and equity dilution, Dre reportedly walked away with around $700 million. Still massive, but far from billionaire territory. And here's the kicker. Some insiders claim Dre could have hit $1 billion, but an accidental leak of the Apple deal just before it was finalized may have cost him tens of millions. Apple reportedly reduced the offer after the leak, shaving off what might have been Dre's direct path to billionaire status. Whether that's true or just industry gossip, one thing is clear. Dre came this close to joining the billionaire club, and the missed shot still haunts financial analysts to this day. But Beats was just the beginning. What Dre did with that fortune next is where the story really takes a turn. While the world was focused on headphones and hit records, Dr. Dre was making power plays in one of the most lucrative markets on the planet, real estate. And he wasn't just buying houses. He was building a legacy, one jaw-dropping property at a time. Over the years, Dre has quietly assembled a portfolio that rivals some of Hollywood's most elite investors. He sold his Brentwood mansion for $20 million, only to upgrade to a $40 million estate in Los Angeles' Pacific Palisades, a home previously owned by none other than Tom Brady and Gisele Bündchen. That alone turned heads, but that's just the surface. Dre also owns a sprawling Calabasas compound, multiple properties in Malibu, and stakes in several commercial buildings around LA. Industry insiders estimate his real estate holdings to be worth well over $100 million. Some say closer to $150 million if you factor in appreciation and off-market properties no one talks about. Unlike flashy entertainers who post every new purchase online, Dre rarely shares details. He moves like a ghost in the world of high-end real estate, quietly buying, upgrading, and holding, letting the value grow while staying under the radar. And the smartest part? These properties aren't just homes. They're assets that appreciate while he sleeps. But Dre's wealth isn't just tied up in concrete and bricks. What he's earning behind the scenes might be even more impressive. Most people associate Dr. Dre with massive record deals and his iconic Beats headphones. But what's often overlooked are the quiet revenue streams that keep pouring in, long after the spotlight fades. And this is where Dre's real genius shows. Start with royalties. Every time someone streams a classic NWA track, an Eminem anthem, or an early 2000s 50 Cent hit, Dre gets a cut. He's been producing chart toppers for decades, and thanks to streaming platforms, his old catalog is still making serious money. Some reports estimate Dre earns millions each year, just from legacy royalties alone. Then there's his behind-the-scenes hustle. Dre is known to ghost produce for high-profile artists, lending his ear and touch to tracks without ever putting his name on them. These uncredited sessions often come with hefty paychecks, and more importantly, equity deals and back-end royalties. But the most surprising sources? Dre has dipped into the cannabis industry, tech startups, and even silent partnerships in entertainment companies. He's known to invest in companies before they go public, raking in returns without ever saying a word. In a world where flashy deals dominate headlines, Dre's fortune keeps growing from moves that never make the news. And while fans focus on what's visible, the real empire is hidden in plain sight. But even the most calculated empires aren't immune to personal setbacks. And Dre's next chapter would bring a hit that nearly shook everything. In 2021, Dr. Dre's financial empire took a hit that sent shockwaves through the industry. Not from a failed investment or bad business deal, but from a brutal and very public divorce. After 24 years of marriage, Nicole Young filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences. What followed was one of the most expensive celebrity separations in recent memory. The headlines were relentless. Private documents, allegation, and legal battles poured into the tabloids. But beneath the drama was a far more serious consequence. Dre's fortune was on the line. In the end, Nicole walked away with a $100 million settlement. That's not a typo. Half was paid up front, and the rest followed over time. And that figure doesn't even include the millions spent on legal fees, property division, and other court-related costs. For most people, a financial blow like that would be devastating. For Dre, it was a deep cut, but not a fatal one. Still, insiders believe this single event knocked him off the billionaire trajectory. Had the divorce not happened when it did, and with such intensity, Dre might have crossed the billion-dollar line by now. Some speculate the stress even caused delays in projects and investments he was planning to launch in the early 2020s. But Dre isn't the type to fold. Instead, he recalibrated and made moves that would quietly put him back on top. And in 2023, he'd returned to headlines with a deal that stunned even his fiercest critics. Just when people thought Dr. Dre might be slowing down, he pulled off another monster move. One that reminded everyone why he's still one of the sharpest minds in music and business. In early 2023, Dre sold a significant portion of his music catalog for a staggering $200 million. But this wasn't just a fire sale for fast cash. It was a calculated play. Dre offloaded portions of his royalties from albums, production credits, and certain streaming rights, essentially cashing in on decades of work while keeping control of the assets that matter most. He didn't give up ownership of everything, just the parts that had peaked in value. It was like selling high in the stock market. Perfect timing, perfect execution. Behind the scenes, Dre was also doubling down on tech. Sources say he invested heavily in startups focused on audio innovation, health wearables, and digital content platforms. While others were chasing clout, Dre was buying into the future. Quiet partnerships with production companies and distribution platforms kept him earning in places no one expected. And unlike the Beats era, Dre kept these moves under wraps. No big press tours, no flexing on social media, just business, quietly booming in the background. With that $200 million influx and a diversified portfolio growing stronger by the year, Dre was back in the game, bigger, smarter, and richer than ever. But the next piece of the puzzle? It's how he chooses to live with all that money. Dr. Dre doesn't flaunt his wealth the way many hip-hop moguls do. There are no stacks of cash on Instagram, no weekly Lamborghini flexes, no gaudy stunts for likes. But make no mistake, Dre lives large. He just does it on his own terms. His car collection alone is a quiet museum of precision and power. Custom Rolls-Royces, Ferraris, Bentleys, each hand-picked and often modified with studio-level sound systems that only Dre could dream up. And while other stars chase headlines with jets and jewelry, Dre's luxury is deeper, more refined. He's known to spend millions on recording studios, audio equipment, and experimental tech no one else has access to. His personal studio? More advanced than most commercial spaces in Los Angeles. Friends say it's like walking into a futuristic spaceship, part creative lab, part luxury retreat. Art collectors whisper about Dre's acquisitions too, rumored to include rare Basquiat pieces, modern sculptures, and installations worth millions. Add to that his love of high-end watches, tailored fashion, and exotic getaways, and you get a man who spares no expense, but rarely lets the world peek behind the curtain. Even his properties are a reflection of this mindset. Sprawling, secure, and stunning, but shielded from public view. He doesn't need to show off. He knows what he has. But here's the real question. After all the deals, setbacks, and silent wins, how much is Dr. Dre really worth right now? The answer might surprise you. Despite the headlines, the hype, and the years of speculation, Dr. Dre still hasn't officially been crowned a billionaire. But don't let that fool you, because his fortune is bigger, more complex, and more powerful than ever. Most financial analysts peg his net worth somewhere between $850 million and $950 million, depending on how you value his private investments and real estate holdings. That includes the $200 million catalog deal, his sprawling property empire, steady music royalties, and stakes in multiple private companies that could explode in value any day now. And that's just what's visible. Behind the scenes, Dre is tied to ventures in tech, media, and health, sectors that are known for turning millionaires into billionaires overnight. Some sources even suggest he's sitting on shares in a soon-to-IPO company that could push his net worth well past the billion-dollar mark, if he chooses to cash in. But here's the twist. Dre doesn't seem to care about the title. While others scramble to announce their billionaire status, Dre operates with a different kind of power. one that doesn't need validation from Forbes. He knows what he's built, and he knows the empire isn't finished growing. So is he a billionaire? Maybe not, on paper. But in terms of influence, ownership, and long-term wealth, Dr. Dre is already in a league of his own. Dr. Dre's journey to near-billionaire status isn't just a story of money, it's a masterclass in evolution. From the streets of Compton to boardrooms with Apple executives, he's flipped his legacy into one of the most impressive empires in entertainment history. And he did it without ever needing to stay in the spotlight. His wealth isn't loud, it's layered. Music royalties that still pour in decades later. Real estate that appreciates while he sleeps. Strategic investments that no one sees coming. Even after taking a $100 million hit from divorce, Dre rebounded like a boss, proving that real wealth isn't just about how much you earn, but how smart you move. He may not wear the billionaire badge publicly yet, but if you look past the headlines and into the deals, the properties, the ownership, Dre is right there. One signature, one IPO, or one silent partnership away from crossing that magic number. But maybe that's the point. For Dr. Dre, it was never just about being the richest in the room. It was about owning the room and then building a new one that only he had the keys to.